Our Lord in today's gospel reading is asked, which is the greatest commandment, the first of all? And of course, we're very familiar with this passage, but why is it that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, and secondly, to love your neighbor as yourself? Is it just because these commandments would encompass all the other commandments? That's part of it. But when it comes to the commandments, very often we think of them as kind of rules or regulations that God gives us in order to live our lives. And while that's true in one sense, we also need to understand that the commandments are there for our benefit. So it's not as if God is just imposing some restrictions upon us or some guidelines or rules. A good way to think about it is to think of the rules of the road. In other words, traffic laws. Why are those rules there? Is it just because the governments want to restrict our freedom when it comes to driving on the road? No. The reason is they want to keep us safe. They want to make it so that we can travel safely from point A to point B. And in like manner, when it comes to the commandments of God, God gives us these commandments to keep us safe. And the other thing is that when we consider these two commandments, these two greatest commandments, it's obeying these commandments that we attain to the fullness of what it means to be a human being. In other words, as human beings, we have a certain potential to become truly human. And we all fall short of that. So to be truly human, we need to have self-control, we need to be masters of ourselves. But to be truly human means to be able to love. And we are created for love. And this act of loving is what is most conducive to our well-being here and now, but also to our place in heaven, our place after this life. So, I mean, imagine somebody who's angry with someone or someone who bears a grudge against someone. Are they happy? No. If you hate someone and you're often reminded of that person, can you be happy? Can you be content? No. But imagine if you're able to forgive someone who's offended you. You're able to be at peace. You're able to be content. Even though people may have something against you, you don't have anything against them. You're able to be content. So loving, acting in a loving way, makes us happy here and now. And, often I've referred to romantic love, how, young couples who are madly in love, they're just very, very happy. But the reality is that if we love everyone, we will be happy in like manner, to a greater degree even. And of course, the saints knew this, and this is why the saints were so full of love, first and foremost for God, and secondly for their neighbor. Now, I wanted to draw your attention also to today's first reading from the book of Tobit. It's a rather long reading, and we actually missed parts of the book of Tobit. So this demon that was afflicting Sarah and whoever she married, we kind of missed the part where the angel tells Tobias, what to do to get rid of this angel. So we kind of missed that. If you wanted to read on your own, you can. But what I wanted to draw your attention to is Tobias wants to marry Sarah, and he insists with his with Sarah's father that he be able to take her as his wife. And at one point, I can't find her right now, but at one point he says, now you are her brother and she is your sister. And I just thought that was very beautiful. And if you recall, just yesterday I was speaking about the fact that, marriage, it's not just about sex appeal, it's not just about sex, and that shouldn't be the primary focus in marriage, but it's supposed to be a friendship. Now, if you have a sibling, your siblings, you will always love your siblings. Actually, you should, but I hear sometimes even people argue with their siblings, or they don't talk to their siblings, which is very, very unfortunate. But the ideal is when we think of siblings are ones that we love throughout our entire lives. So when the father of Sarah says, you are now Sarah's brother and she is your sister, I just thought that was very, very beautiful. In other words, you're brother and sister for life, for better or for worse. You are brother and sister. And this is what marriage is about. This is what true love is all about. It's this brotherly love. And we call ourselves, brothers and sisters in Christ. So we are all called to be brothers and sisters together, which means we should love each other as brothers and sisters. So not just married couples, but in general with everyone. We should treat everyone with tremendous love. This is what we are called to do. So something that we should strive to grow in our love of God first and foremost, and secondly, to grow in love of neighbor. Just a brief announcement. Somebody sent me a message today, and they're saying that today is the anniversary of a prayer meeting that Pope Francis held a few years ago to promote world peace. So there's an initiative underway at 1 p.m. today. They suggest, set an alarm on your cell phone at 1 p.m. today. Take a minute to pray for peace in Ukraine, in other places in the world where there is tensions or conflicts taking place. Pray in whatever way you want. You might just offer up 3 Hail Marys. So just take a minute today at 1 p.m. if you're able to pray for world peace. And if everybody around the world is doing that, it's hopefully going to have a greater impact.